Breaking news. Family. And when I say breaking, I mean teeth breaking, nose cracking, blood on the floor type of breaking. Because what if I told you that Tamar Braxton, yes, that Tamar, woke up looking like she just went 12 rounds with Mike Tyson, but nobody knows who threw the first punch? What if I told you that the whispers in Atlanta's neon-soaked streets all point back to one name, one man, one love and hip-hop certified magnet for mess, Mendeecees Harris? And if that wasn't enough, what if I told you the shadow of Yandy Smith's infamous cousin, the legendary pull-up queen herself, cousin Kesha, is stomping all over this story like a Jordan sneaker on fresh white carpet? Now tell me this, was Tamar just in the wrong place at the wrong time, or did she get caught slipping with the wrong man at exactly the wrong hour? Was this an accident, a setup, or a revenge plot so messy it makes every other reality TV scandal look like Sesame Street? Buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into a story dripping with blood, betrayal, and Bravo-level drama. And trust me, you're not ready for what comes next. All right, let's dive into it, because the way this night unfolded feels less like a casual Saturday in Atlanta and more like the setup for a reality show spin-off that never made it to air, and probably never will for legal reasons, but still has the entire internet glued to their screens. Tamar Braxton was supposed to be enjoying herself at a simple dinner, laughing with her longtime friend Funky Deneva over expensive steak and wine, smiling for Instagram stories that painted the picture of a woman living soft and stress-free. But Atlanta nights have a funny way of flipping the script. Once the plates were cleared and the laughter spilled out of Ruth's Chris, the city's neon heartbeat pulled Tamar into its rhythm. And before long, she was in the crowded haze of V12 Lounge, where the music was pounding and the energy was thick, with possibility and danger. And that is where the whispers started, because sliding into the scene was none other than Mendeecees Harris, a man whose name alone is enough to shift the vibe from harmless fun to impending scandal. His history is messy, his marriage has been tested under the unforgiving glare of reality television, and his silence in the face of rumors has always been louder than any denial. So when people spotted him leaning in close to Tamar, exchanging low words and letting their hands brush just a little too comfortably, it was like watching gasoline meet open flame. Some say it was business, some say it was flirtation. But what everyone agrees on is that their energy was undeniable and dangerous. And by the time the clock crept past 1 a.m, witnesses swore they saw the two slip into the night together. Now we all know nothing innocent usually comes after midnight in Atlanta. So the fact that Tamar and Mendeecees were allegedly headed to an after-party raised eyebrows instantly, and the breadcrumbs only got messier when Funky Deneva himself admitted the car did in fact drop them at Tamar's house, though he was quick to distance himself by insisting he did not go upstairs but instead left to meet another friend. That alibi only poured fuel on the fire, because if Mendeecees was indeed inside Tamar's home, then her house became the last confirmed stop before the morning of blood and broken teeth that shocked her fans. Hours later, Tamar revealed she woke up in a pool of blood, her nose fractured, her teeth missing, her body weak, her memory foggy, a friend panicking over the horrifying scene. She admitted she did not even know what happened, and in that silence, the streets of Atlanta began writing the story themselves. The whispers pointed to Yandy Smith, the woman who built a brand on polish and image, but whose family history proved she never really fights alone. Her cousin Kesha, infamous for storming a reunion stage and attacking the mother of Mendeecees' child, suddenly became the name on everyone's lips. Fans quickly connected the dots that maybe Yandy got word, maybe Kesha pulled up, and maybe Tamar's bloody morning was not an accident at all, but a message delivered in the shadows. And here is where the tension reaches a fever pitch, because Tamar has not denied it. Mendeecees has not spoken, Yandy has not flinched, and Funky Deneva, instead of showing concern, cracked jokes on social media as if laughing could erase the suspicion hanging in the air. That silence, that refusal to clear the record, is exactly why the story will not die. If Tamar was innocent, why not explain? If Mendeecees was just at a birthday dinner, why not defend himself? If Yandy was uninvolved, why not issue a denial? And if Funky Deneva was truly a friend, why make jokes while a woman nearly lost her life? Every piece feels like part of a puzzle no one wants to solve out loud, but the streets already have, and the conclusion they shout is simple: that Tamar Braxton crossed a line, that Yandy Smith's cousin reminded her why some lines are never meant to be crossed, and that Atlanta nights are never as harmless as they appear when the first toast is raised. The silence surrounding this incident is almost louder than the chaos. itself because the people involved know exactly how to play the game of deflection and denial, while the audience stays hooked trying to piece together the truth from broken shards of gossip and speculation. And that is exactly what makes this story so intoxicating. Mendeecees has always been a magnet for controversy. He is the type of man who can walk into a room and immediately shift the air, not because of charisma, but because everyone wonders what trouble is going to follow him next. And Tamar linking herself to that energy feels like a disaster waiting to happen. The way the timeline unfolded is being dissected like it is a true crime investigation, with anonymous insiders leaking supposed details that make it seem even darker. One source who claimed to be working inside the lounge that night swears Tamar looked nervous as she left with Mendeecees, clutching her purse tight and whispering into her phone as if she was already second-guessing the decision, while another alleged witness insists they heard a heated conversation between the two in the parking lot. Voices raised, Tamar saying, "I can't do this," while Mendeecees laughed and told her she was being dramatic. Now, whether that actually happened or not almost does not matter, because once that version of the story hit the blogs, it became cemented as part of the narrative, and fans ran with it like track stars. The next wave of chatter came when someone, claiming to be a neighbor, said they saw an unfamiliar car pull up to Tamar's house around 2:30 in the morning, a black Escalade with tinted windows that idled for a few minutes before someone heavy-set in sweats jumped out and disappeared. Inside, people immediately connected that to cousin Kesha, because who else has a reputation for uninvited entrances and sudden pull-ups, and the theory started growing its own legs. By sunrise, Tamar's bloodied state was being whispered about in groups, chats. Fans were analyzing her Instagram stories frame by frame, and messy bloggers were piecing together timelines with red circles and arrows like a Netflix docuseries. Funky Deneva poured gas on the fire by hopping online and turning the ordeal into comedy, saying Tamar was out here doing extracurricular activities with community property and got community service in return, which had fans laughing but also questioning how he knew so much detail if he had supposedly left early. That made people accuse him of being the one who tipped off Yandy or even Kesha, fueling conspiracies that Tamar's inner circle was compromised. Public reaction has been split between sympathy and side-eye because Tamar is not new to scandal. Her name has floated around messy situations before, but this one feels heavier, almost like she underestimated how far things could spiral when dealing with someone like Mendeecees. Fans flooded her comments with support, telling her to heal and cut ties with toxic people, but just as many accused her of breaking girl code, pointing out how shady it looks to be entertaining a married man with a history of cheating. Twitter threads popped up overnight cataloging every past incident where Tamar was accused of overstepping boundaries, from reality show feuds to public spats with other women in the industry, painting her as someone who thrives on chaos and always finds herself at the center of the storm. Meanwhile, Yandy has stayed unusually quiet, posting curated family content and motivational captions as if nothing is happening, which only makes people more suspicious because the Yandy everyone knows is quick to speak on rumors when they are harmless but deadly silent when there is weight behind them. The scandal has even taken on a life outside the blogs, with so-called insiders leaking screenshots of text messages allegedly between Tamar and a friend, where she hinted she was scared to go public with what really happened because they would come after her. Nobody knows if the texts are real, but they went viral instantly, fueling theories that Tamar was pressured into silence either by fear of retaliation from Yandy's camp or fear of exposing her own reckless choices. Some even claim lawyers are already circling, warning everyone involved to keep their mouths shut because the fallout could include lawsuits, divorce filings, and even criminal charges if an assault is proven. The layers of secrecy only feed the hunger for answers, and every unanswered question multiplies the suspense, leaving fans and bloggers salivating for the next piece of evidence. What makes this even more surreal is how quickly it has spread into mainstream gossip, with morning shows casually mentioning it, comedians cracking jokes about teeth and karma, and fans turning Tamar's pain into memes that will live forever on the internet. The cruelty of it all is part of the spectacle, because the public loves nothing more than watching celebrities fall apart in real time, and Tamar's bloody mourning has become the latest offering to feed that appetite. Still, underneath the sarcasm and speculation, there is a disturbing truth that a woman ended up battered and broken with no clear explanation, and the fact that so many people are laughing instead of demanding accountability shows just how desensitized the culture has become to celebrity trauma. And yet that is what makes the story so gripping. Because every player in this scandal seems to know that silence keeps the mystery alive. And the longer they refuse to answer the questions, the more the world will keep watching, waiting, and speculating about what really happened behind those closed doors. The aftermath of this scandal is playing out like a slow-motion car crash where everyone knows the collision is inevitable, but nobody is stepping on the brakes, and every new whisper only makes the fallout seem darker and more irreversible. By the time the first gossip blogs declared Tamar's bruised face and missing teeth a headline, damage had already been done to reputations that were shaky at best and collapsing at worst, and the more the silence stretched, the more the theories grew louder. Some are convinced legal trouble is coming, that the police are quietly investigating what really went down that night, because no matter how much celebrity gloss is sprinkled on top, the fact remains that someone ended up brutally injured. Others say the law will stay away because too many powerful names are connected to the story, and when money and influence collide with violence, the system suddenly develops a blind eye. But in the court of public opinion, the trial has already begun, and it is brutal. Tamar's image as the loud yet lovable diva has taken a hit with people calling her reckless, careless, and willing to play with fire, even when she knows she always ends up burned. Mendeecees is once again being dragged as a man who cannot stay faithful or avoid trouble, no matter how many times he promises change. And Yandy, despite her polished silence, is now being framed as a woman whose family might be willing to get their hands dirty to protect their pride. Financial consequences are also being whispered because Tamar has endorsements and upcoming projects that could be jeopardized if her name stays tied to something so violent and scandalous. The entertainment industry is fickle, and brands do not like attaching themselves to controversy that makes audiences uncomfortable. And the longer Tamar refuses to clarify her role, the more nervous those brands will become. Even Mendeecees, who is no stranger to legal issues and public embarrassment, has business deals that depend on maintaining at least a surface-level image of stability, and that facade is cracking under the weight of this rumor storm. There are also mutterings of a possible divorce brewing in the Smith-Harris household, because whether or not Yandy's cousin actually pulled up, the mere suspicion that Mendeecees was sneaking out with Tamar has fueled speculation about betrayal, disrespect, and private battles inside their marriage. Reality television producers are allegedly circling, already trying to secure confessional-style interviews for the next season of shows, hoping to capitalize on the spectacle before it cools down. But the irony is that any attempt to turn this into entertainment could backfire badly if Tamar decides to break her silence in a way that implicates others in something criminal. And yet, through all the chaos, there is a sinister calm, almost as if the people involved know exactly how to let the story simmer until the public gets tired, and then shift the narrative back to curated Instagram posts and staged photo ops. But this time feels different because the damage is physical, visible, and undeniable. Tamar cannot post filtered selfies without fans zooming in and asking about her nose, her smile, her recovery, and she cannot sing about strength without people questioning whether she is living the lyrics or hiding behind them. The blogs keep pressing the same questions. Who hit Tamar? Why has Mendeecees vanished from social media? Why is Yandy ignoring the noise? And why is Funky Deneva doubling down on jokes instead of clarifying his role? Every unanswered question becomes a seed of suspicion, and those seeds are growing into vines wrapping around every name attached to this scandal. The longer it drags out, the more likely it is to spiral into something bigger, and insiders are already warning that if Tamar decides to take legal action or even just sit down for a tell-all interview, careers could collapse overnight. Imagine Tamar naming names on live television. Imagine her pulling out receipts of calls and messages. Imagine her finally revealing who was in that house the night her life was nearly taken. That possibility hangs over the industry like a storm cloud, and everyone is watching closely to see if she reaches her breaking point. Until then, the speculation continues. Fans picking sides, haters mocking, bloggers feeding off the clicks, and celebrities caught in the crossfire pretending not to notice while secretly scrolling every update like the rest of us. What started as a bloody mystery has become a cultural moment, a messy cocktail of betrayal, violence, silence, and suspicion that shows no sign of calming down. And the truth is, the fallout has only just begun. So now that you've heard the full story, the question remains, what do you think really happened that night? Was Tamar Braxton simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, or was this a calculated move that spiraled completely out of control? Did Mendeecees know more than he's letting on? And was Yandy's cousin Kesha really involved, pulling up to make a statement without anyone seeing it coming? These are the questions that keep the internet buzzing, and the answers are still locked behind silence, speculation, and rumor. But here's the deal. You get to weigh in. Scroll through the comments, share your theories, debate the evidence, and tell us who you think holds the cards in this twisted game of celebrity drama. Was this a scandal born of reckless choices, or a carefully orchestrated lesson in loyalty, power, and fear? The streets of Atlanta might never forget, but your voice matters here. Hit that like button if you're as shocked as we are, subscribe so you don't miss the next twist in this story, and turn on notifications because when the next detail drops, you'll want to be the first to know. And don't just watch. Engage, speculate, and make your voice part of this viral story because in a saga like this, silence isn't golden, it's suspicious. Suspicious.